Okay, good. First of all, thank you very much for being here today. I'm Fernanda.patucci. I'm from Cultura Inglesa São Paulo. Yes, so it's very nice to meet you all, and it's very nice to have you here to talk about a very important topic, right? Just for me to get an idea, how many of you are teachers? Teacher trainers? Managers? Good. So you were basically everything, right? Very nice. Okay, I would like to ask you a question, and I want you to talk to the person next to you, if you have somebody next to you, or it can be in front of you. How important do you think it is to talk about this, the LGBTQI plus, QI plus world in the classroom to your students? How is it relevant for you to go back to the classroom and apply that to your lessons? It's very like 2 minutes, okay?
Other part of the group. But I see teens and
teens would English lecture. I wonder about which members of the community are they that that they might feel the spotlight's on them. So they would, they laugh. We should do it right.
Thank you. Sorry to cut you short. Any interesting ideas you would like to share, please? Why? Why are you here today?
So I'm gay myself, and I teach only adults at the moment, and I think it's a different context because they are in London as well, so it's a very cosmopolitan city. Okay. But when I was a student and I started studying English when I was 11, I was bullied a little bit at the language school where I studied. So I think it's a totally different context. So, but I think it's also good to raise awareness among them, and probably I mean they're really used to the gay community, which is huge in London, but I think it would be interesting to discuss with them.
Thank you, David. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would like to say something.
Please. What's your name?
Amin.
Amin.
Yeah, Amin. From the Netherlands.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm here is because me myself, I'm a Muslim. I also think of myself as a practicing Muslim, and I was just telling that to Diego, that we have, I think, 2 or 3 lessons and we talk about love in general. And one of the subtopics is different types of love, for example, transgender love, homosexual love, and I always, it's sort of like a struggle for me myself to, not to teach it, but to stay, I don't want to say neutral, but I try to
educate yourself.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, not necessarily myself. I'll try to, how do I get my own opinion about the topic out of the classroom and just present it neutrally to the students in the class who might themselves have problems with the topic.
Very good.
So I came here to see how to get some ideas on how to use it in the classroom.
Definitely. And if you have any contributions, please. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Yes.
I would just say that we're part of society, and so it's natural that as part of the society, which the classroom is a kind of microcosm of society in a sense, that it is natural that LGBTQ would be incorporated into the classroom materials in some way, shape, or form. And it depends largely on how you talk about it or frame it and what you do with that. And so in that regard, that's the way in which I think it's important to include.
What afternoon here. Tyson. Okay, thank you very much, Tyson. So, I'm telling you now why I'm here today, okay? Yes, I hope by the end of this talk, we are gonna have some ideas for you to apply right away when you go back to your classroom. But I'm here presenting you a study case, yes, of 3 students, and it's based on exactly on what you said about prejudice and bullying and how they feel inside the classroom, not only in ELT contexts, but in general, universities, schools, and all these contexts, educational contexts. And I would like to start by our agenda. So we're going to group the following things: unraveling the LGBTQI plus acronym. Okay, I'm gonna be brief here, but if you want to know more, you can ask for more information after the session. I'll be more than glad to answer your questions, okay? Presenting the questions that I pose to my students, as this is a study case, a research. Presenting the students themselves, excerpts from the interview, and practical tips. That's what we're going to see today. Starting by the acronym. So we have lesbian, women who have attraction, sexual attraction for other women, yes. Gay, and this is very important, lesbian for women, gay for men, yes. Gay men who are sexually attracted by men. Bisexual, it's a person that is attracted by both men and women, yes. And lesbian, gay, bisexual, they are not related to gender at all. Okay, it's related to sexual attraction, physical attraction, and everything. It's not about gender itself. Okay, and then we have transgender people, and then we go to the gender thing. Yes, we have transgender women who are born naturally men, but they see themselves as women, yes, and we have transgender men who were born women, biologically women, but they see themselves, they identify themselves as men, okay? And then we have queer, which is an umbrella. The term queer is an umbrella for people who they don't identify with either genders, or they don't mind to be called he or a she, for example. So it's when you don't identify yourself with the genders male or female, or when you have sometimes you identify yourself as a woman, or sometimes you identify yourself as a man, and this is perfectly possible in the queer community. Okay, and we have intersex, who are people that they were born with some biological features, sexual features, like it can be chromosomes or even organs. For example, they were born either with a masculine or a feminine organ, sexual organ, so they are intersex. Okay, and we have the plus. And the plus, I'm gonna tell you, we have many other letters to add to the acronym. Okay, I brought 2, which are asexual. Asexual people, they are not attracted sexually by either men or women. Sometimes they have a preference. I have an asexual student myself, and she says, "Teacher, I'm not interested in either men or women, but if I would choose one, I would be lesbian." So they kind of have a preference, but they are neutral in the sense they have no sexual interest in people in general. And we have the pansexual, which is the person who feels attracted sexually by men or women, being them transgender or cis. So a pansexual person is attracted by a cis man, a cis woman, a transgender man, or a transgender woman, regardless of who they are. Okay? And then inside the queer umbrella, we have binary and non-binary people. Binary people being people who want to be called exclusively with female or male pronouns. So people who want to be called exclusively as he or exclusively as she, because they identify themselves with one gender only. Yes? And non-binary people who are actually part of the non-binary it's a very similar term to queer, so they don't identify themselves either as a man or a woman. So it doesn't matter if you call them he today or a she tomorrow, they don't mind, because they don't see themselves as a gender. They see themselves as a human being, and for them that's it. That's enough. Okay? And the questions that I posed to my students were: have you ever been a victim of prejudice in any situation? And that's important because we have different contexts involving education or the educational environment. And did you have any support from friends, teachers, professors, or anyone from the school or university in these situations? Because that's where we step in. Yes, what we can do to help them. It's not about their experience, because their experience is important for us to raise awareness. Yes, and I'm so sorry that they have been through all the things you are going to see now. Okay, and now you are going to meet my lovely students and interviewees. So we have BSA, gay, chef, 24 years old. We have MSF, 24, nurse, lesbian, and RG, which was the person who brought me here, the first person that raised my awareness to what I was doing inside the classroom. Unemployed transgender man. And I had to say unemployed because this is something that it's really strong, because I'm gonna tell his story and then you're gonna see, oh my God, he's unemployed. Why? You know, because he's a very skillful person. Starting with the first question, I'm gonna show all the questions, or all the first questions, the answers, okay? And that's what BSA say about his experience with bullying or prejudice. Fifth grade, 10 years old, very young, first time that he suffered bullying because he was gay. Just because. He didn't even know that he was gay, but people thought that he was different, so that's what people did. And I emphasized it hurt a lot because when I was interviewing him, he said not only outside, but inside. Yes, so it hurts. Another example, another situation. Now everybody knows that he's gay. He came out when he was 17 years old, but then he says that in his kitchen, he's not respected as the other chef, who is straight. People usually call him, they say that he's a girl, that he should speak like a man, things like this. So he doesn't feel respected at all. And it's not at school anymore. It's in his job. Then we go for MSF. Her two experiences were in the college, because she says that in high school she was very, very lucky because her friends were very welcoming and they were very supportive, and her teachers were very nice. But at college she suffered a lot. Just so you know, one of her biggest dreams is to be a mom. And her colleague said that, like, she could never be a mom. because she's lesbian. In the other situation, yes, I see your faces, and that's the face that I had when I saw these, when I heard these. You can never raise a child properly because you are lost. I mean, the perception, people have sometimes a perception that gay people, lesbian people, transgender people, they are lost. It's like they don't know what they are doing, when actually it's not a choice, you know? And this is what I think this is the first thing we have to understand. It's not a choice. Nobody chooses to suffer prejudice, bullying, whatever it is. And we have to respect everybody, yes? Yeah.
This is from Brazil, I assume.
Yeah, all of them.
Okay, is it, in Brazil, is it sort of accepted, or how should I say this? For example, in the Netherlands, if someone were to say this, this would not be accepted. Or maybe that's a cultural thing, but how is the situation in Brazil?
Yeah, I think that we are in a very difficult situation nowadays, because it's not accepted for people who are educated about this. But if you are not educated, people probably would laugh, and they probably would agree, you know, because it's not very common to see gay couples, lesbian couples, transgender couples with children, especially with children. So it's not very common to see a family that is different from what they call traditional, which is a man, a woman, and kids.
But also institutional.
Yeah.
So the institutions themselves are also very concerned.
Yeah, my institution is not. I'm lucky to work at a place that we embrace diversity, and everybody's welcome. And we try to include that, like micro-teaching in the classroom, and showing to students that this is something that we don't accept. So if we face a bullying situation or something like that, we act right at the moment. Because in my institution, this is not possible. This is not even acceptable. I cannot even see that happening.
Exception, would you say, in Brazil?
In Brazil.
An exception.
An exception?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
would be an
it's an
exception.
exception, definitely. Unfortunately, it's like one exception when it should be considered to be normal. Yes. And then we go for RG, 25 unemployed, transgender men. This is a bit longer. Yeah, this was a very delicate situation. This man, at this time, he was going to the transition from a biological woman to a transgender man, and the school simply refused to enroll him with his social name. So they said, okay, you can have your name on the ID, the school ID, but then when they did it wrong. He had two names when he was a biological woman, yes, a woman. And then his birth name was like two female names, and when they did the ID, they did like social name, male, birth, second name, female, and he was bullied, and he never went back to school. He dropped the school at the age of 17. He quit. He just said like, I'm done. This was like unacceptable for him. And another situation was in college, because after you were gonna see he finished high school, but not going back to school. In this case, nobody knew he was a transgender person. His colleagues didn't know, the people in the college. He was going through transition, but he had been taking hormones forever. So he looked more like a man than before, but he still hadn't undergone the mastectomy surgery. Yes, he didn't have money to afford it, so he was waiting for the public health to do it, and finally he did it. Last year he could do it, a full mastectomy. Yeah, and what caused my attention was how they, and he says that this is a very common term, intruders. Because when he says, when I looked myself in the mirror, I wanted to take them off, and I couldn't. So it's like it's not part of my body, because my head, I am a man, I'm not a woman. So when I saw that in the mirror, they used a binder, yeah, very, very tight one, so much so that they don't feel the chest region. They cannot feel, it's numb after a while. And they also wear sweatshirts, loose clothes, so they cannot, so they don't see the intruders, as he says. Yeah. And he dropped the college and he never came back until nowadays. He's not studying anymore. And then I asked them if anybody has helped them or stepped in to, encourage them to do something about it. That's what BSA said. He never had any support from his teachers or any person in the school environment, directors or anyone. Especially because at that time, when he was 10, nobody knew that he was gay. And he says that nowadays, he didn't tell his parents, but he says, my parents know, I'm not going to tell them, but he doesn't have a family support either. But fortunately, he says he's not traumatized by this experience. He says that it makes him stronger than he was. But he feels sad sometimes that he doesn't have the same opportunities as a straight person would have. But as teachers, we can help people so they can understand better what is going on. Because if he reached out for teachers, and he said to one of the teachers, why do I like to dress like my mom and not like my dad? Because my dad is a cop. And I don't like to dress like him. I like to wear my mom's shoes. And the teacher simply ignored the question and said, because, it's just because. And he went back to his seat. Never more, they never more talked about it. MSF, she never had any support from her professors or any person in the university, even her colleagues. So going through college for her was a very painful experience once everybody knew she was lesbian. She didn't say to anyone, but then when those two situations happened, everybody was aware. And she was bullied somehow, but she didn't care so much. But sometimes when it gets to being a mom, because it's her dream, one of her dreams, she says that people should never say that, especially in a school or a university. Yeah. And she describes herself as a lucky person. Yes. Interesting fact about it, it's that her mom belongs to a religious institution, and her mom accepts her the way she is. They never fought about it. RG never had any support from his teachers at the school staff or university. He got his high school degree through a test, Brazilian government offers, ENEM, when he was 22. And he developed depression and anxiety, but if you look at the scenario, I am really, really, really surprised and proud that he could finish the high school at the age of 22. He never stopped. He wanted to move on and he wanted to have a better life. And what about us? Yes, what about us? I asked them, what do you expect from me? What do you expect from the school that you used to go? What do you expect from the universities, professors, teachers? What do you expect? And this is what they said. They say they want to belong to the classroom. They don't want to be different. They want to be part of it. And when you include them in textbooks, for example, as Tyson mentioned, as Tyson mentioned, when you include pictures of gay couples, lesbian couples, transgender people in the textbooks, or you include them there in your classroom, they feel that they belong because they don't identify with that traditional family, beautiful, as people used to say, man, woman, kids, dogs. Beautiful is beautiful regardless if it's like a man or two men, two women, whatever it is, it's a family, you know, the concept of family, it's not the people. Treat them the same way as others. Promote opportunities for interaction. So you educate your students. We should educate our students. We should educate ourselves first. Because I come from a society that is really, that I consider the society that I live in, like, really, really, how can I say? I forgot the word.
Conservative?
Yeah, thank you. Conservative. Yes. And I had to educate myself. So if I can educate myself and I'm trying to educate my students, why can't we do that as a community? Yeah? Ask students how to refer to them. Glauco's talk yesterday was about welcoming a transgender teenager in a group, and just ask them, how do you want to be called? If you ever have any doubts, I want to be called, as Glauco mentioned, a wall. So call your student a wall, no problem. It's not what you want to call them, it's how they want to be called. We have to take action to prevent bullying, stop it right away. I mean, not teachers, I don't think we do that. But students, we have to prepare students not to do that anymore. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to their stories. Maybe you can help them. Maybe you can be the person that's going to change their lives somehow. Respect their choices, even though we don't agree with what they chose or who they are. It's not up to us. Make them feel welcomed and safe, and educate your students. And here is what I learned. English is a beautiful language because we can use the pronoun they to refer to people. So if you don't want to say he or she, you just only say they. Don't use sexist terms such as guys, and I am including myself here. I am taking guys out of my vocabulary when I'm teaching. You can use people, you can use folks, you can use everyone. And neutral gender pronouns. This is very interesting. Yes, this is a table that I got from a website that is in my references. You can use all of them to refer to people in general. Yes, they mean the same, but they have different spelling. That's all. It's very interesting, right? The most common is the first one, sie, them, their, this, and theirself. This is the most common one. And to finish, I would like to share a quote from Niemöller. Yes. Niemöller. the socialists and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came from the trade unionists and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then I came for the Jews and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one left to speak for me. So let's not wait for people to not be here anymore to talk about them. Yes, because one day can be teachers and there will be no one to talk about us. These are my references. If you want me to share the slides with you, just pass on this. I'll be more than glad to share. And thank you very much. Use my social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, if you would like to contact me, okay? And if you have any questions or would like to talk, I'll be here around. I have to leave the room, but I'll be here, okay? Thank you very much for calling me.
Oui.
Did you print your certificate?
Huh?
Did you print your certificate downstairs? There is
What do I want a certificate for?
to prove that you've been here.
I've been.